In this module, we'll connect the third-party inventory with our beacon. Up in the docs.flexera.com is our reference guide for the various inventory adapters that we have out of the box. So if you want to see what the individual adapter is doing, take a look at it. In our class, we're going to connect to FlexDC data, where we've got a few machines that are in a SCCM database, and we're going to bring those machines back through the beacon into Flexera 1, and we'll look at the inventory after normalization. So to connect to a third-party inventory system, we click on Inventory Systems, and then we can click on New and choose the connection type, and that'll give us a list of out-of-the-box connectors to choose from. Let's take a look at the data in FlexDC data. So I'm going to go to that VM and open up SQL Server Management Studio and go to Databases, SCCM, Views, and look for VR System. Now I'll right click on it and look at the top 1,000 rows. And here you can see our results. Scroll over to the right under Distinguished Name. You see Cowboys, Red Sox, Steelers, Seahawks, Redskins. Those are to be the sample machines that we bring over. Okay, returning back to Flex Beacon, I'll make this full screen and then hit Escape. Open up the FlexNet Beacon, click on Inventory Systems, and you can see the New button down here. If I click on the drop down, you have the various interface connection types. If you just click on New, it'll open up a SQL Server connection. So following the lab manual, we're going to connect to two different databases over on FlexDC data. One is my old SMS. It is an SCCM type. The server is FlexDC data. Do a Windows specific account. It'll be the service account. Give it the password. The database name in this case is SMS. It's best to just type that in rather than look it up. It'll just take a while to return a result set. We can look at the overlapping inventory filters. If we have multiple connections, we can determine what's the behavior of this connection. So we can ignore this device's inventory. We can ignore the device inventory was older than a certain number of days, or import it, but just update the fields where there's missing information. Now you can see that the database connection has succeeded. So we'll go ahead and save it in the beacon, hit OK. And now we can set up another connection for my new SCCM. So I'll click on New, type my new SCCM, source is SCCM again, same server, same specific Windows account, enter the password, database is SCCM, and then click Test Connection. It's all good, hit save again. Now we need to set up the schedule for these connections to run. To do that, we will create a new schedule. So I'll go to the left panel, click on scheduling, and then you can see the existing schedules that are here by default. I can also create a new one by clicking on the new button and then call this daily 1 p.m. test schedule. And under the scheduling options, I can choose daily and make this at 1 p.m. Hit OK, and I have my new schedule, then click Save. Hit OK. So now I can return to Inventory Systems, select my connection name, click on Schedule, and in the drop-down, I could pick my new schedule. Daily 1 p.m. test schedule, hit OK. Then I can do the same thing for my new SCCM, click on Schedule, drop-down, select the schedule, hit OK, then hit Save again, hit OK. If I go back to scheduling, I can open up the daily 1 p.m. test schedule and I can see the connection names are now associated with that schedule. Returning back to inventory settings, rather than in this class wait for the schedule to take place to start the inventory, I can click on each of these inventory systems and then run execute now, hit OK, and that'll kick off the jobs. To see the data from these jobs, I can go to my File Explorer, and I can see that my 2 connections have been processed and the zip files are available. So now I can go to the task scheduler and highlight the uploaded third-party inventory data and hit run. And that, instead of waiting for the schedule, that will run that process and bring the data up into Flexera 1. So now I'll go into Flexera 1, refresh my system tasks, and I see that my old SMS and my new SSM have been processing. I do have an error on my old SMS. It is actually expected. Want to do a little troubleshooting. So if I look at the details here, my select permissions were denied on the object user discovery in SMS. So I will go ahead and troubleshoot that. So to do that, I'll go over to FlexDC data and take a look at the database. So I'm going to scroll up in my SQL Server Management Studio to logins under security. And on the service account, I'm going to right click and look at properties. Click on user mapping. And these are there's the SCCM database and the SMS database. If I click on the SCCM database, you can see that I'm DB owner in public. And if I look at the SMS database, I'm just public. So what I'm missing is the access to the data itself on SMS. Now SCCM is probably a higher level than we need, being DB owner. We really just need to read the database. So I'm going to set it for DB reader or DAT reader and hit OK. So now I should have the right permissions to access that table, and I can go back to FlexBeacon and reprocess that inventory adapter. So I'll go ahead and make this full screen again, go to my beacon, go to my old SMS and hit execute now. Return to system tasks. So give this a second or two to process, and then I'll hit run. And now if I go back to Flexera 1, refresh, I am still processing my new SCCM. I am reprocessing the old SMS. So I've got show last run as yes. If I change this to no, I can see the previous processes as well, the one with the error. So here's the old SMS with the failed status, and then my old SMS being reprocessed again. So I'm hoping that it'll complete successfully. But if I only want to see one instance of each system task being run, I can change this to show last run. So now my system tasks are completed. If I open up the connection, you can see that I've imported 9 devices here, and on the new SCCM I've imported 5 devices. If I go to data collection, data imports, you can see I've completed the tasks of bringing in the SCCM and my old SMS data. And if I go to inventory, all inventory, and group this by connection name, which it is already, you could see my new SCCM has 5 devices, my old SMS has 6 devices. Expanding my new SCCM, here's my Red Sox, my Steelers, my Dell machines, and they've made it into an inventory record now.